Halloween Ends is the third and hopefully last installment of the Blumhouse Jamie Lee Curtis back as Laurie Strode, David Gordon Green, Danny McBride Halloween trilogy. But, you know, despite the fact that sometimes they will name movies something definitively final, like, you know, the final chapter, the last stand, or whatever, Halloween Ends, you'll still have a producer, like how Jason Blum has kind of gone out in some interviews going like, well, yeah, it's the last one of this story we're telling, but, you know, we're always looking to make more Michael Myers Halloween films. We're not saying it's an end to that entirely. Whatever makes money, you know? I would prefer no sequels after the original Halloween at this point, because literally every single one of them is a failure in some way. Even like the most watchable ones, like the 2018 one, is kind of a failure as far as like what it could have been, what it kind of should have been. Anyways, let's not get caught on any tangents. What's the plot of this movie? Well, I can't really tell you because the marketing has been a little vague, and going into this movie with just that marketing thinking, oh, they gave away everything, I think. Kind of in some ways, but not completely. There's something that they're hiding that I don't know if I can really share it, because it was definitely an experience discovering it myself, not knowing. So basically all I can say is after Halloween Kills, the mob tried to kill him, stabbed him in the brain, didn't work, he still got back up, killed Judy Greer, who is Laurie Strode's daughter. So Laurie Strode is going to go after Michael one more time. At least that's the way the movie is marketed. So Last Stand, that's the summary of this movie. They're going at it one last time. And look, if you've seen my reviews for the last two movies, especially for Halloween Kills, I have not been too keen on them. You know, I know a lot of people were more so keen on the first Halloween, 2018. And I can understand that. I even said that in my Halloween Kills review. Like, I understand why some people like that. It's got some really great kills, wonderful direction from David Gordon Green. And hey, the storyline with Laurie, you know, maybe it's not perfect all around for me personally, but it is a solid idea, and they do get a lot of mileage out of that narratively. Halloween Kills was definitely, that's when people started to turn on this thing. They're like, any goodwill you built up with the last one, nah, this is stupid, this is really dumb, and obviously it has its defenders. You know, several Halloween sequels have its defenders, sure. If you see my review, I did not like that. I kind of hated it. In hindsight, there's definitely things that I did like about it, so I can't say it's an abysmal movie, but just me personally, like, I was thinking about, should I rewatch the last two before seeing Ends? And I was just like, no, I don't want to go through that, you know, that anguish, that irritation again. So I kind of went into this like, okay, whatever. It's been a year since I've seen these movies. I don't want to see them anymore. I just want them to stop. This one, the marketing is not doing anything for me. I'm so sick of Laurie Strode and Michael Myers, you know. Like, I think I even said in my Halloween Kills review, like, you know, the fact that the Scream trailer had dropped then, and I was way more interested in seeing more of that, more Ghostface killers, more new characters there, than anything that's going on in Halloween. Because Halloween, they keep trying to, like, build out based off of just a very, very simple concept in that first movie. And like I said, they got a lot of mileage out of the Laurie Strode trauma stuff. You know, 40 years still, that's ruined her life in some way. But making more after that is kind of like, well, you've stretched it and now it's kind of breaking. What can we do? And that's what I was wondering too for this one. Like, what can you do for Halloween Ends? What's the approach? And I can definitely give them credit. Like, they do try, similar to Kills, they do try to insert something to be more than just another slasher. Like, hey, we want to explore a theme of, you know, darkness when it consumes people. What happens when that happens? Is anyone else kind of at blame for that happening to people? Is there a way to completely ward that off, or is there always going to be some darkness, a part of you no matter what? You know, can you actually fully remove yourself from it? You know, and that was kind of interesting in theory and, you know, in certain aspects of this plot. And once again, I'm going to try my best not to spoil what new is happening, just because, you know, I didn't know, and it was interesting seeing that unfold on screen. You know, it's not a horrible idea. And once again, the actors aren't doing a bad job either. You know, Jamie Lee Curtis has this down, you know, she knows exactly what she's doing. And this movie actually, because she's in it more than Kills, it gives her a chance to be a bit more fun too. You know, there's certain moments where she's able to not be so consumed with saying the same line over and over and over and over again about Michael is pure evil, whatever. You know, she's able to have a bit more fun and do something else with the character that we haven't really seen, which was very neat. I really like that. Once again, you know, there are some kills or some, you know, slices, whatever, moments of slasher tension where I was kind of like, hey, that's, you know, pretty solid direction from David Gordon Green. The score by John Carpenter, once again, very good. They try to do something a little different. It's hard to describe. It's almost like the theme from Halloween, but they try to play it a little bit more like youthful or kind of like whimsy. It's kind of hard to describe, but it's a different kind of sound that they're trying to go for with the score, and I really like that. The music is usually the best part of these Halloween movies, even the worst ones, especially when John Carpenter is doing it. That being said, this movie once again just continues to fall in line with the other Blumhouse movies and the other Halloween Blumhouse movies of just being as stupid as possible. Everything that they're trying to go for is undercut by something that they're trying to do narratively. And I feel like I should have known I was really in trouble when the movie opens, and two things stood out to me. First of all, they kind of write a scenario in the first couple minutes. It opens the movie, and it ends in a way that was pretty shocking. I was kind of like, whoa, wasn't expecting to see that. But the way they built up to it, there was like a weird kind of like contradiction of details. Like you kind of go into this scenario and they give you some specific details about a certain person where you're like, hey, this person has been, doing this, they're afraid, whatever, yada, yada, yada. And then a couple minutes later, it seems like they completely contradict that. And it seems like the intention was it's all just kind of a build up to kind of pull off a prank, right? In the context of the movie. But it's kind of like it's a weird setup just to do that. And I don't know, it was just a weird way to open the movie, but you need that opening, or you need the ending of that opening to progress the rest of the story. And it was very clunky to me, and it was a hard thing to buy into or be like, whoa, I want to see where this goes. I was just kind of like, oh, well, I don't care, this person had this coming, like it just totally reeked of that. Basically, if I can go on a quick side tangent, every single character who gets it in this movie kind of has it coming. It's kind of a further buildup of what I've been saying, is that every single citizen of Haddonfield since the last movie is just a complete fucking moron, Like, I don't really remember a lot of over the top idiocy in the 2018 one, you're just seeing people be people, but in Kills, when they were like, well, what do we do for another movie? Well, I don't know, we haven't seen a town fully go against Michael Myers, so let's try to work in some community trauma theme and mob justice and the downside of, mob mentality, whatever. And it made every single citizen incredibly stupid and hard to connect with also because of the way they went about doing that. And that is still continuing over here. I still don't buy into this theme that they have built up with, oh my gosh, everyone in this town is so traumatized, everyone has a story about Michael Myers, everyone is so touched by Michael Myers, and it can, in the ways they also try to continue it where they pick up the story, how some people even say some things to Laurie. I was also kind of like, what are you even saying? Like, what is this scene? What are you hoping to gain? What is this character hoping to gain? And I don't see the logic behind this, especially with the time that has kind of gone by since the end of Kills. It was just really clunky to me. But back to my main thing. So the clunky opening where it was like the writers forgot what they were writing and just switched to something else. I was like, I'm not sure I buy into that. And then I saw during the opening credits, music's playing, pumpkin is peeling back, whatever, and, see all the people involved. And they show written by, and it's 4 people, not just Danny McBride and David Gordon Green. So 4 people are sitting in a room and writing the script. And I have already mentioned my complaints with the opening. It's like, okay, this is a bad sign. Usually when you make a great movie, not this many people are involved like this, you know what I mean? And hey, that can happen, great movies can have that many writers, sure, but most of the time, let's say 90%, it's usually 1 or 2 people. And it's very rare that when you have more cooks in the kitchen that it, it's actually like a cohesive, thought out, wonderful tale. So those 2 things should have been my sign earlier on. Like I said, they have ideas, but it just seems like they completely fumbled what they were doing. What I mentioned earlier about the citizens of Haddonfield, it's almost like they are intentionally, with so many of these characters, making them dumb as possible or as despicable as possible, kind of in a way that's over the top, where David Gordon Green directed them in a way where it was kind of like, ooh, this is kind of hokey, cartoony. Don't really care for that. I don't really care for the approach to how you're directing these actors. I don't care for a lot of the dialogue that is given to a lot of them, No one is chanting "Evil dies tonight" over and over and over again. There's no points where characters are saying the exact same thing, just regurgitating it. between different people, like Halloween Kills. That was Halloween Kills' big problem with their dialogue. It's just, so nothing that bad, but it's just a lot of stupid shit. There's just so many things where people say it and it's supposed to be like reaching out and getting at you in some way. You're supposed to have some reaction to it, and the only reaction I was getting was, well, this is stupid. Like, I don't think any real person would actually react like this at all, you know? And I understand it's a movie, and certain things need to happen in some movies, and I understand that. I am willing to suspend disbelief for so many things. But when your movie is also trying to be about something and trying to be about this real kind of thing, this real feeling, community trauma, darkness, and all that shit, usually you will try to make that more relatable and connect well, instead of just being like, well, let's just give them anything at all to further prove our message here. And it's weird because it feels like there are points intentionally making the citizens as stupid and horrible as possible, so you hate them. When they get slashed, you're like, fuck yeah. But then at the, not to spoil anything, but at the end, they once again make the citizens sympathetic, and you are supposed to root for them. And it's like, fuck that. Are you kidding me? This town needs to be nuked. Not because of Michael Myers, but because there's like some weird idiot disease that's like being spread amongst them, and they just all need to go. Start from scratch. So there's another thing about this story that I need to talk about. It's about Michael Myers, and once again, I'm gonna try not to spoil a lot of what this movie's actually about, but the thing about Michael Myers is that, they in those other sequels that were retcon, not in continuity, they did give some form of explanation as to why he could keep coming back. That was like the Cult of the Thorn, I think, or Thorn Cult, whatever the fuck it was called. It was a cult. He was possessed by some magic thing, whatever. And it was like, okay, it's kind of stupid, kind of out of left field, especially for the kind of movie that the original is, but it's some kind of explanation to explain why he keeps popping up and doing shit. And I like that for Halloween 2018, they brought it back to more simple, like he's just incredibly focused and driven to, murder. And then Kills did the thing where he gets stabbed in the brain and he still gets the fuck back up and murders everybody. So this movie, I was expecting like, okay, they have to explain in some fashion how that's possible. You can't just show an ending where the mob justices the fuck out of him, stabs him in the brain, but he gets up and murders them all and Judy Greer. There's got to be something, whether it's like maybe that isn't the same Michael, maybe there's different Michael Myers, or maybe there is a cult this time. You have to explain that, because I understand the theme of Michael is that, he's been totally consumed by evil, so it kind of makes him this supernatural kind of presence. Like, that's like the theme backing it up. Like, that's why he can vanish so quickly at the end of the original Halloween once he falls off the deck, the porch, whatever, the roof, wherever he was in the original. But the thing about that theme and how that ties into the end of the original is that there was still a leap of logic where you could buy into that. Like, okay, he got shot 6 times, he was stabbed somewhere in the back of his neck, in the neck, maybe if he's so driven, and considering he's younger than 2, maybe there is a reality where he can crawl away out of sight and there can be a little bit of a chase. Where's Michael Myers? It doesn't work when when he's now older and he's been in prison for so long, where he continually just gets beat down and then stabbed in the brain, where he should be dead. And then they also, you're supposed to also be in suspense and be really satisfied at the end of this movie when it's like, well, I don't know. If he can survive that, then is everything just off the table at this point? Like you're trying to do this ending, but I don't know, like it feels like it ended in Kills. And then you just like did a reshoot of an ending so you can make another movie because you realized, oh shit, we can't just end it at 2, do a 3rd movie, bring him back. So I was at least expecting some kind of explanation, or at least like a bait and switch, like actually he did die in Kills, somebody else picked up the mask and pretended to lie there, something, anything. And no, it's still the same fucking character, and it's the same. It's the same. And the thing is, though, with the new shit that they introduced that I'm trying not to spoil, and it's very hard to, and very frustrating that I have to keep saying that for some reason, he doesn't need to really be in the movie. Like, I understand kind of the visual things that they're trying to convey with a certain something, but he doesn't, at least this version, it doesn't really need to be in this movie. And I was just, at the end of it, I was just kind of like, yeah, we never needed more. This could have just ended with the 2018 one. Give some finality somewhere. But no, They had to make more. But then they try to give the illusion that they're doing more than just cash grab sequels, so they insert, half-assed, half-baked theme ideas. There's just so much that I dislike about this. Like, coming out of Halloween Kills, I was really mad. I was really frustrated. But I think it was because there was so much about it that, like, I recognize, like, this is still, there's parts here that I still think are really good and entertaining for a horror slasher movie. So it's frustrating that it's buried under the complete idiocy of of the script. The Blumhouse tradition is that their movies are really fucking stupid a lot of the time. So I didn't walk out of Ends completely, like, mad, like, oh my god, that was Kills. This was just like, I just want to leave. I just want to go home and take a nap. I'm so tired. I want to see new ideas. I want to see new slashers, or I want to see, other horror, things from the past brought back in a way that's interesting, exciting, something fresh or new, or just a way we look at the originals different now because you have this new idea to continue it. Something. And all they did was just continue the tradition of making them fucking worse and worse as they go on. So, there's still some really lame-ass jokes that they insert because Danny McBride, comedy guy, put some jokes in. There's still some bad acting that will show up, and I don't blame any of the actors. It's purely just David Gordon Green's directing them. I couldn't stand a lot of the dialogue. I couldn't stand the way they fucking ended this movie, and I couldn't stand the way they opened it. Not just the clunky scenario they give you, but then narration from Laurie Strode kind of giving you exposition and going over, rushing through stuff that I would have liked to have seen way more than most of the stuff that then happens later, because it's all kind of dull. And if I'm going to be honest, when they do get into some more of the kills, some of them are cool, but then a lot of it is kind of like an afterthought. Like, oh, I guess we should probably put a scene where, they murder someone. Put the camera over here, though. We don't need to see it. We're just gonna rush through a lot of this stuff. It just felt very dull, very tired. Like, I can't speak for the hearts behind this project because, I'm sure it seems like everyone has a good time making them. It seems like everyone enjoys celebrating them when they release. But there's something that feels off even from the last two that I didn't even really care for, Like, something was just off about this movie, and maybe it was because they were trying to go for a new thing because of this new narrative that they were introducing, but it just did not really come together for me at all at any point. There's even, like, the worst kind of, like, jump scares that they put in, like, false ones, and then, like, kind of, like, supposed to be scared. Like, at one point, Laurie Strode is like, she sees someone outside. She goes out, kind of looks for him, like, oh, I don't see him here. And you're seeing it kind of pulled back. She's like in front of her porch. No other place. I think they even do like cut back at one point, show like a full view of the house and everything. Then they cut back to Laurie, like, oh, head and torso, whatever. She turns and dude is like right there, like, I need to talk to you. And it's a bong noise. And it's like, fuck. Another point where like someone is aiming to shoot the Michael Myers costume, and a guy all of a sudden just pops up in front of it at the last second, gets shot, falls down, and then that costume, that shape, is just gone. You don't see where could have run off to the sides, or where it was just standing there, quick shot of someone getting shot and gone, vanishing like a ghost. And it's impossible, you know what I mean? Like, every single time Michael can, like, evade somebody, or even though we always see him just walking, every time he evades people, though, there's usually like a structure to the filmmaking where you can buy it. The mind is like, I could see him just slipping by or hiding somewhere, and the character being too scared to kind of look immediately. Yeah, for sure. But these new scenarios are like, that's impossible what you're doing. Like, that is disrupting the space that you are presenting. What is going on here? I'm gonna give Halloween Ends a D+. I was going into this like, it's the last one. They just need to wrap up a story, so how much more can you fuck up that? You know what I mean? But, this movie has aspirations similar to Halloween Kills and even 2018 Halloween. And I think that's the thing, is that, I applaud Blumhouse whenever they can get like a movie right, especially when it has some kind of social commentary tied to it. But usually, it's something that is like personal or special with the filmmaker, right? And this kind of feel like maybe it is personal, maybe it is special, but I mean, they're going through a lot of themes and they have to also make a Halloween movie. You know, there's expectations for that. And then you're also trying to make like a real movie. And it seems like they just can't ever find that balance with these new ones. And, you know, some are more enjoyable than others. It literally is just a downgrade with each film. The logic gets worse, the jokes get worse, the dialogue gets worse, the acting gets worse. I mean, I'll give them this. They give Laurie a bit more to do in this one than Ends. I think that was a better treatment of her character in this movie. But even then, you know, the way this movie just wraps up, it's kind of like this could have been done a while ago. We didn't need this. So much money being poured into this IP that will offer up something that's like, hey, idea, and you're like, that could be really cool. Maybe not for Halloween, though, or maybe for Halloween, but you need to rewrite some stuff. You need someone to come in with a clear vision. Don't rush them because this is a Blumhouse production. We do things on the cheap. We get things out quickly. But I think that's kind of what happened, if I'm going to be honest with you. Happy Halloween, everybody! This is the first review I'm doing for like the month of October. I didn't do anything in September. That's fucking wild. I'm going to try to get some more reviews out to you soon. Do not hold me to that, though, because you never know what's going to happen. I might be sliced up by Jason Blum in a Michael Myers outfit for saying this stuff, so you never know. Anyways, though, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe. I'm Jackson Fulcher. See you guys next time.